What if I told you that some of the most time-tested herbal teas you could ever brew are not sitting in expensive boxes at the health store, but growing in ordinary garden beds right now? Plants that appear in some of the oldest written texts in human history and can be grown in any standard raised bed or container today. These are not obscure specialty plants. Most of them grow better with less attention than your tomatoes. And every one has been steeped and drunk by people in ancient gardens for over 3,000 years. Here at Evergreen Garden, we love finding plants that carry that kind of history and still belong in a real working garden. These 8 do exactly that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a like, because here at Evergreen Garden, we post new videos every single week about practical plants for real home growers. You do not want to miss what is coming. 8 biblical garden plants you can grow and brew from your own backyard. And stick around, because plant number 3 was so prized in ancient harvests that it appears in the book of Exodus to describe the miraculous food of the desert. And plant number 8 has been grown in monastery gardens continuously for over 1,000 years because of what happens when you steep its leaves. Number 1. Hyssop. We start with hyssop, Hyssopus officinalis, hardy in USDA zones 4 through 9. This is one of the most frequently mentioned plants in all of Scripture. It appears in Psalm 51, "Purify me with hyssop," in Exodus 12 for the Passover, and in John 19 at the crucifixion. For thousands of years, it was not an abstract religious symbol. It was a plant growing in people's gardens that they worked with every day. Hyssop grows as a compact woody shrub, 12 to 18 inches tall, with clusters of blue-purple flowers in summer that pollinators love. Both the leaves and the flowers can be harvested and brewed into a clear, mildly minty, slightly bitter tea. Planted in full sun or light shade in well-drained soil, it is drought-tolerant once established, which makes sense given its origins in the rocky, arid terrain of the Mediterranean. After it blooms, cut the plant back by about 1/3. This triggers a second flush of growth and keeps it from going too woody at the base. Mistake to avoid: planting hyssop in rich, heavily amended soil. Like most Mediterranean herbs, it produces more aromatic leaves in leaner conditions. Over-fertilizing gives you bigger, blander plants. Hyssop is safe in culinary and tea amounts. Avoid medicinal strength doses during pregnancy. Number 2. Mint. Mint may be the most familiar plant on this list, but its biblical connection surprises most people. In Matthew 23:23, Jesus speaks of people who carefully tithe their mint and their dill and their cumin while neglecting weightier matters, which tells you that mint was so commonly grown in ancient Judean gardens that tithing it was a recognized practice. Mint is hardy across USDA zones 3 through 11, which means it grows in almost any US garden. The challenge is keeping it from taking over. Mint spreads underground through runners and will colonize an entire herb bed in 2 or 3 growing seasons without containment. The solution every experienced herb gardener gives you: grow it in a container sunk into the ground or in a dedicated pot on your porch. For the best flavor, harvest mint stems just before the plant flowers. Once it flowers, the essential oils in the leaves begin to diminish. Cut stems back halfway after each harvest to encourage fresh, new growth. Safety note: mint is safe for adults in normal culinary and tea amounts. Do not apply concentrated peppermint oil near the faces of infants. The menthol can cause breathing problems in very small children. Number 3. Coriander. Third is coriander, the same plant we call cilantro when we harvest the leaves. In Exodus 16 verse 31, the manna that sustained the Israelites in the desert is described as looking like coriander seed, white, with a taste like wafers with honey. Seeds have been found in ancient Egyptian tombs dating back over 3,000 years. Coriander is an annual, direct sow in spring and again in early fall, because it bolts quickly in summer heat. The seeds are what you want for tea. Coriander seed tea is warm, slightly citrusy, and faintly spiced, very different from the bright, grassy taste of the fresh leaves. To brew it, lightly crush the seeds in a mortar and pestle and steep in hot water for 7 to 10 minutes. Harvest seed heads when the seeds turn from green to a warm tan or light brown. Cut the whole head and dry it upside down in a paper bag. The seeds fall in as they dry. Mistake to avoid: sowing coriander in the same spot without rotation. It does better move to a fresh location each season. Coriander is safe for most people. Those with carrot family allergies may react to it, as they belong to the same botanical family. Number 4. Dill. Dill appears in the same verse as mint and coriander, Matthew 23:23. As a common garden herb, people tithed in ancient Judea. Seeds found at ancient Swiss lake dwellings confirm it has been cultivated for at least 5,000 years. Dill is an annual that grows quickly from seed, reaching 2 to 4 feet tall with feathery blue-green foliage and flat clusters of tiny yellow flowers. Both the leaves and seeds can be brewed into tea. Dill leaf tea is light and grassy with a gentle anise quality. Dill seed tea is warmer and more concentrated. Historically, it was drunk after meals as a digestive. The name dill comes from an Old Norse word meaning to soothe or calm. Dill does not transplant well due to its taproot. Always direct sow where you want it to grow, and thin to one plant every 12 inches. Full sun and dry conditions suit it well. Do not plant dill near fennel. The two are closely related, and if they cross-pollinate, both lose most of their flavor. Keep them in separate beds or containers. Dill is generally safe for culinary and tea use. Like fennel, avoid very large quantities during pregnancy. Number 5. Chamomile. Chamomile has been brewed into tea longer than almost any other plant on this list. Ancient Egyptian papyri document it as sacred to the sun god Ra. Greek and Roman physicians wrote about it extensively. It appears continuously in European and Middle Eastern herbal traditions for over 3,000 years. German chamomile, Matricaria chamomilla, is an annual that self-seeds reliably and will naturalize in your garden once established. USDA zones 3 through 9. Roman chamomile, Chamomillum nobile, is a low-growing perennial in zones 4 through 9. The flowers are what you harvest. Pick them in the morning after the dew has dried when the petals lie fully open and flat. Fresh chamomile flowers make a mild, apple-scented tea. Dried flowers produce a stronger cup. Once established, chamomile self-seeds so readily you rarely need to replant. Let some flower heads mature and drop their seeds, and the plant handles its own succession. Mistake to avoid: harvesting flowers too early, when the petals still curve upward. The best flavor and aroma develop only when petals lie fully flat and open. Safety note: chamomile belongs to the Asteraceae family, the same family as ragweed. If you have ragweed allergies, chamomile tea may trigger a reaction. It can also interact with blood thinners. Number 6. Lemon balm. Lemon balm, Melissa officinalis, gets its name from the Greek word for honeybee. Ancient Greek beekeepers rubbed hives with its leaves to encourage bees to stay. It has been grown in Mediterranean gardens since antiquity, and in European monastery herb gardens continuously since at least the 8th century. Lemon balm is a perennial, hardy in USDA zones 4 through 9. It is easy to grow, unfussy about soil, and spreads by runners and self-seeding once established. Like mint, it benefits from container growing if you want to keep it in one spot. The fresh leaves make a light, lemony, mildly sweet tea that smells like lemon verbena but is gentler in flavor. For the strongest flavor, harvest just before the plant flowers. Once it goes to flower, the lemon scent fades noticeably. Mistake to avoid: cutting the plant down to the ground too aggressively. Trim by about half after harvest to encourage bushy regrowth rather than leggy stems. Safety note: lemon balm may interact with thyroid medications and may increase the effects of sedatives or sleep aids. Use in moderation if you take either. Number 7. Fennel. Fennel, Feniculum vulgare, has been cultivated for food, medicine, and tea in the Mediterranean for at least 4,000 years. Ancient Greek, Roman, and Egyptian texts all reference it. In some scriptural translations, the anise of Matthew chapter 23, verse 23 is identified by scholars as fennel. The Greek and Hebrew terms were sometimes used interchangeably for aromatic seed plants of this type. Fennel grows as a perennial in USDA zones 6 through 10 and as an annual in cooler zones. It is a tall, dramatic plant, 3 to 5 feet, with feathery blue-green foliage and flat yellow flower clusters. The seeds are what you want for tea. Fennel seed tea is sweet, warming, and strongly anise-flavored. Lightly crush the seeds, use 1 teaspoon per cup, and steep for 7 to 10 minutes. It has been drunk after meals across the Mediterranean world for millennia. To harvest, let flower heads go to seed, then cut when the seeds turn grayish tan. Dry them in a paper bag and store in a sealed jar. Critical growing note: do not plant fennel near dill or most other herbs. Fennel releases compounds from its roots that inhibit the growth of many neighboring plants. Give it its own space. Safety note: fennel has mild estrogen-like properties in large quantities. Avoid medicinal strength doses during pregnancy. Number 8. Sage. We close with sage, Salvia officinalis. The name salvia comes from the Latin salvare, to save or to be well. Carolingian records from the 9th century list sage as a required plant in royal and monastic herb gardens. It was used in cooking, in medicine, in ceremonies, and as a brewed tea for well over 2,000 years before the word herbal ever existed. Sage is a perennial hardy in USDA zones 4 through 8. It grows as a shrubby plant, 12 to 24 inches tall, with soft gray-green leaves that are strongly aromatic. Plant it in full sun with very well-drained soil. Wet soil kills it, especially in winter. Raised beds and containers work well if your native soil holds moisture. Fresh sage leaves steeped for 5 to 7 minutes make a strong, earthy, slightly peppery tea. This is a bold cup. A small amount of honey softens it considerably. Each spring, cut the plant back by about 1/3, removing the oldest, woodiest stems to keep it producing fresh growth. Mistake to avoid: watering on a schedule. Water sage only when the soil is genuinely dry. Overwatering kills it faster than anything else. Safety note: sage contains thujone, a naturally occurring compound. In normal culinary amounts and as a brewed cup of tea, it is safe for most adults. Avoid medicinal doses during pregnancy or if you have a seizure disorder. Those are 8 plants that connect your garden to some of the oldest growing traditions on Earth. Every one can be grown in a standard raised bed or container and brewed into a cup of tea that people were drinking 3,000 years before the first grocery store ever opened. Before you go, tell me 2 things in the comments. Which of these 8 plants do you already have in your garden, and is there one you are thinking about adding this season? I read every comment, and your answers help shape what we cover next at Evergreen Garden. If this brought a little history and practicality to your garden today, hit that thumbs up. It helps more people find this channel. Subscribe to Evergreen Garden for more practical plant wisdom every week. See you in the next one.